Ladies and gentlemen, there's no shortage of dreams in this room. But let me tell you something. Dreams without models are just hallucinations. And markets without money are just noise. You were not born to live in mediocrity. You were designed for dominion, to rule, to create, and to multiply. The reason your ideas haven't made millions yet is not because you lack greatness. It's because you haven't aligned your model with the market that honors your value. Let me make it plain. You were not born to live in mediocrity. You were designed for dominion. That means your very existence was crafted with the intention of impact, influence, and increase. Mediocrity is not your default. It's a detour, a delay, a distraction from your true assignment. Somewhere along the way, life may have convinced you to shrink, to settle, to silence your voice. But deep within you is a blueprint for greatness, not average results, not survival, but extraordinary outcomes. The frustration you feel isn't failure. It's your spirit rejecting a life that's beneath your design. You feel it when you look around and wonder why others seem to soar while you're stuck on the runway. It's not jealousy. It's a divine dissatisfaction that won't let you rest in comfort zones. And you shouldn't, because you were created to solve problems that others run from. You were built to carry visions that others can't see. You are not here to merely exist. You are here to expand. Every time you lower your standards, you go to war with your potential. Every time you hide your ideas, you rob the world of transformation. There is a kind of pain that doesn't come from defeat, but from playing beneath your power. That's the pain of potential going unused, the ache of greatness buried under self, doubt, fear, or false humility. But I need you to understand something. You are not here to beg for scraps. You are here to create tables. You are here to make waves. And the world will not give you permission. It will only respond to your decision. You don't need to wait for a signal. The very breath in your lungs is the signal. You've already been chosen for more. This truth doesn't require applause. It doesn't wait for approval. It rises with or without validation. When you understand you were designed for dominion, you stop competing with others and start commanding your space. You stop asking, do I belong here? And start declaring, this is where I build. And building is spiritual. It's not just about money. It's about multiplying meaning. It's about creating value that stretches beyond your lifetime. Because legacy is not a product of luck. It's the reward of those who refuse to play small. This isn't about ego. It's about stewardship. It's about recognizing that what's in you was never meant to stay in you. There are people waiting for the version of you that fully shows up, not the version that hides behind excuses or waits until everything is perfect. Your dominion doesn't come when you feel ready. It comes when you move in obedience to the calling you already sense. That quiet nudge inside you. That's the sound of destiny knocking. That's the echo of a future you're supposed to shape, not observe. When you were born, purpose showed up in the world with skin on. Your vision is not random. Your desire to build, to create, to influence is not an accident. It's evidence that you carry something the world desperately needs. But too many people have been trained to suppress what makes them powerful, to believe that humility means hiding or that confidence is arrogance. That's a lie. Real humility is recognizing that your gifts are not yours to keep. They're yours to release, multiply, and steward for impact. And yes, the journey will be uncomfortable. It will stretch you. But dominion was never meant to be easy. It was meant to be earned through courage, clarity, and conviction. The pain of growth is far lighter than the weight of regret. And every time you take a step into the unknown, into the bigness of what you're called to do, you reinforce the truthy. You were never meant to be average. You were never designed to be hidden. You were made to rise, to reign, to release something that changes lives. There is a reason you can't shake that vision. There is a reason you can't settle even when comfort is offered. It's because your DNA was wired for more. You are not like everyone else, and that's not a flaw. That's a feature. You see differently. You think differently. And now is the moment to move differently, because nothing changes until you do. Dreams without models are just hallucinations. They look good in your mind, they feel powerful in your heart, but without a structure to carry them forward, they dissolve into frustration. You can dream all day, visualize hope, and even pray, but if you don't attach that dream to a strategic model, a system that supports it, delivers it, and multiplies it, you're just entertaining yourself with fantasy. That's why so many people are exhausted but empty. They have vision without vehicle. They have desire without design. And that's a recipe for disappointment. You see, dreaming is not the problem. You were born to dream. You were born with imagination powerful enough to bend the future. The problem is that we've been taught to dream emotionally, but never taught to build structurally. So people dream of financial freedom, but have no model for cash flow. They dream of impact, but have no vehicle to reach people. They dream of business success, but have no offer, no strategy, no system. And then they blame the dream, or worse, they blame themselves. But the dream isn't broken. The model is missing. A business model is not just about making money. It's about making sense of the dream you carry. It's the bridge between your mind and the market. It's the delivery system of destiny. Without it, you're chasing results on a foundation made of sand. You might have all the passion in the world, but if you don't have a process, you'll stay stuck. Passion without process is poverty in disguise. It looks motivated on the outside, but inside, it's breaking down from lack of clarity and direction. The reason so many people give up isn't because they don't believe in their dream. It's because they never created a path to walk it out. They start something, it fails, and they internalize that failure as personal. But failure is often just feedback from a faulty model, not a faulty identity. The model was weak, the execution unclear, the market mismatched, but that doesn't mean you are incapable. It means you've been relying on hope instead of a mechanism. Hope is a wonderful motivator, but a terrible manager. There is nothing noble about constantly starting over. Reinvention without revision is just repetition. You don't need a new dream every year. You need a model that works, scales, and sustains the dream you already have. Think about that. How many dreams have died in your mind, not because they weren't worthy, but because they never had a model strong enough to carry their weight? It's like trying to fly a plane with no wings. You can build the best engine, fuel it with passion, but if there's no structure, it's not going anywhere. This is where people get stuck in cycles, trying harder, pushing more, working late, hoping something finally clicks. But trying harder won't fix what's structurally broken. You don't need more energy. You need alignment. You need to build something that actually holds your dream, something that translates your ideas into deliverables, into offers, into impact. When the model is right, everything else becomes lighter. Energy is preserved, movement becomes focused. Results begin to appear not from effort, but from precision. That's the power of a model. It doesn't just hold your dream, it multiplies it. It creates consistency, predictability, and momentum. It allows you to show up with confidence because now you're not guessing, you're executing. And in execution, there is peace. There's no more torment of what if and how long and why not. There is only clarity. But clarity doesn't come by accident. It comes by design. And that design must be intentional. It must be refined. It must be built around the results you want, not the fear you feel. This is the moment where you must decide whether you want to keep fantasizing or start building, whether you want to keep hoping or start modeling. Dreams are beautiful, but without form, they're fragile. They break under pressure. They shatter under time. But a dream placed in the right model becomes resilient. It becomes real. It grows legs and starts to run. It stops being something you think about at night and becomes something you walk out every day. Not because it's easy, but because now it's finally engineered to live. You don't need more hustle. You need higher leverage. Hustle is what the world shouts at you when it doesn't want to see you think. It convinces you that if you're not exhausted, you're not working hard enough. But exhaustion is not evidence of effectiveness. Many people are burned out not because they're doing too much, but because they're doing too much of the wrong things. Hustle alone is not noble. It's neutral. It only matters what it's attached to. And if your hustle isn't connected to a system that compounds value, it's nothing more than busy movement without momentum. Somewhere along the line, we've glorified struggle and demonized strategy. We cheer for the grind and ignore the mind. We've been conditioned to believe that the more tired we are, the more serious we must be about success. But fatigue is not the fruit of greatness. It's often the sign that we've been investing in low, leveraged tasks. Running faster on a treadmill doesn't get you anywhere. And too many people are sprinting in circles, confusing activity with advancement, speed with significance. Leverage is the difference between effort and impact. It's what allows you to do less and achieve more. It's the invisible force that turns small movements into massive outcomes. In business, leverage is created through systems, offers, automation, and assets that work even when you don't. Hustle says you have to show up every day or nothing happens. Leverage says you build something once and it continues producing even when you rest. One keeps you chained to time, the other sets you free to scale. You don't need to be doing 10 different things. You need to be doing the right thing in a way that multiplies itself. Most people don't fail from lack of effort. They fail from fractured focus. They put energy into everything, but excellence into nothing. Leverage requires that you narrow your actions so you can deepen your impact. It's not about doing more. It's about being more strategic with what you choose to do. It's about knowing your zone of genius and building everything around it. Look at the people who have created massive success and impact. They're not the ones constantly running, constantly grinding. They're the ones who learned how to create offers that solve painful problems, systems that deliver those offers, and teams or tools that operate without their daily effort. That's not laziness, that's wisdom. It's the shift from operator to architect, from laborer to leader. And until you make that shift, you will always be trapped in the illusion that harder work equals higher results. The truth is, hustle is addictive. It makes you feel productive even when you're stuck. It distracts you from confronting the deeper questions. Is this scalable? Is this sustainable? Is this leading me where I want to go? It's easier to stay busy than to stop and build structure. But real growth demands stillness. It requires you to step back, to see the bigger picture, to create systems that outlive your energy and perform without your permission. Leverage is not optional, if legacy is your goal. There is a cost to hustling without leverage. It costs your health, your time, your peace of mind. You may build income, but not wealth. You may create activity, but not impact. And in the end, you'll look back and realize that your hustle built a job, not a business, not a movement, not freedom. Because freedom is not the result of more grind. It's the reward of better structure. It's earned through clarity, focus, and the discipline to build smart instead of just working hard. When you truly understand leverage, your priorities change. You stop chasing everything and start building something. You shift from being everywhere to being effective where it matters most. You begin to value rest as much as action because you finally built a foundation that doesn't collapse when you pause. That's when you know you're moving from hustle to mastery, from effort to efficiency, from surviving each day to building something that grows beyond you. People don't pay for drills, they pay for holes in the wall. That may sound simple, but it's one of the most powerful truths in business. People don't care about your tools, your process, or your backstory as much as they care about their outcome. They are not spending money because they admire your effort. They're investing because they want a specific result. And if you keep selling the drill instead of the hole, you'll continue to miss the connection between your value and their desire. That's why many entrepreneurs feel invisible. They're talking about features when the market only responds to outcomes. It's not about the process. It's not about how hard you work. It's not even about how brilliant your product is. It's about how clearly you can articulate the transformation it creates. People are looking for solutions, not explanations. They don't want a 10-step program. They want to know what their life looks like after those 10 steps. Can they feel better, earn more, have more peace, be more confident? The more clearly you communicate the transformation, the more value your audience will attach to what you offer. People pay for clarity, not complexity. This is where so many entrepreneurs miss the mark. They get emotionally attached to their product, their craft, their expertise, and they should. But when that emotional attachment turns into technical talk, jargon, and long-winded explanations, the customer tunes out. The market doesn't reward your passion. It rewards your precision. You can be excited about your solution all day long, but unless someone sees how it solves their pain, they won't see a reason to pay attention, let alone pay money. Selling the drill means talking about effort. Selling the hole means talking about results. Think about it. When someone buys a gym membership, they're not buying equipment. They're buying a future version of themselves. When someone hires a financial coach, they're not paying for worksheets. They're paying for peace of mind. When someone signs up for a business course, they're not paying for modules. They're paying for momentum breakthrough and the ability to finally win. That's the difference between average income and scalable revenue, knowing what people are really buying. When you make this shift, everything changes. Your marketing becomes magnetic. Your sales become smoother. You stop trying to convince people and start connecting with them. You stop talking like a seller and start speaking like someone who knows exactly what your audience is trying to overcome. And when people feel understood, they listen differently. They respond faster. They trust more deeply. Because now you're not just selling something, you're solving something. And here's the beauty. Once you understand that people are after the outcome, you can reverse engineer your business to deliver that outcome in more ways. You can create offers, content, products, and services that all lead people to the same transformation whether it's faster, easier, or deeper. That's how you build leverage. That's how you scale, because now you're not stuck selling one thing in one way. You've become the guide to a desired destination, and people are willing to follow you across multiple vehicles to get there. So instead of asking, how can I get more people to buy what I offer? Start asking, how can I clearly show them what this does for them? Because until people can visualize their transformation, they'll hesitate, they'll delay, they'll compare you to someone cheaper. But when the value is clear, price is no longer the problem. Your offer stops being a transaction and becomes a bridge. It's no longer a product, it's a promise. And people invest in promises they believe in. This mindset frees you. It shifts your focus from convincing to clarifying, from selling to serving. You stop obsessing over competition because you realize you're not in the business of drills at all. You're in the business of transformation. And transformation is not about what you give people. It's about what they become because of you. When that becomes your North Star, your business stops chasing customers and starts attracting them, because now you're not just offering a tool, you're offering a future. Build a business that sells a promise, a transformation. That's the core of creating something that lasts, something that doesn't just attract attention, but earns loyalty. People don't stay with a business because of the product alone. They stay because they see themselves changing through it. They believe in what they're becoming as a result of engaging with your brand, your message, your mission. This is bigger than just offering a service. This is about crafting an experience so powerful that the person who enters is not the same as the person who leaves. That is what people truly pay for. That is what they remember. Every great business that endures beyond the trends, the ads, and the noise is anchored in a promise. A promise to shift someone from pain to power, from confusion to clarity, from brokenness to breakthrough. That promise must be clear, bold, and emotional. It can't be vague. It can't be safe. It has to be alive with intention, because a transformation is not something people take lightly. They want to know if they trust you, if they believe you can get them to the other side, if what you've built is a bridge they can walk across with confidence. This is why so many businesses plateau. They focus on features instead of future. They talk about what they do, not what that does for someone. And people don't rally behind tasks or tools. They rally behind results. If someone doesn't see how your business will elevate them, they won't connect to it emotionally. And emotion is what makes people move. When you build from transformation, you're not just filling a gap in the market, you're filling a gap in someone's identity. That's where loyalty lives. That's where movements are born. To sell a promise, you must know who you're promising it to. You must be so in tune with their frustration, their longing, their stuck points, that your message feels like it's reading their mind. You must understand their language, their internal dialogue, their hidden battles. Because only then can you present your offer as the exact thing they've been looking for. This isn't manipulation. This is alignment. This is serving on a soul level. When someone feels seen by your business, they don't need to be sold. They're already bought in emotionally. But you cannot promise transformation if you don't first believe in the outcome you're offering. If your confidence is shaky, your message will sound like noise. If you're uncertain about the value you bring, your audience will be too. Selling transformation starts with owning the power of what you've built. You have to stand flat-footed and boldly say, this changes people, this improves lives, This matters because when you carry that conviction, it becomes contagious. People don't just buy what you offer, they buy into your belief in it. And transformation doesn't have to mean something huge. It doesn't have to be dramatic or life-shattering. Sometimes it's helping someone feel less overwhelmed, helping them save time, helping them step into a new level of confidence or peace or clarity. Transformation is about movement from one internal state to another. That's what matters. That's what scales. When your business can consistently help people feel live or think differently, even slightly, that's when you begin building something that's not just profitable, but powerful. You also have to structure your business to deliver on that promise. It's not enough to say it. You have to build the process that fulfills it. That means optimizing your customer journey, refining your offers, and making sure every touch point aligns with the shift you've promised. When someone enters your ecosystem, they should feel like they're stepping into a transformation chamber. Everything they see, hear, and experience should reinforce the truth that they are moving towards something better. This is how businesses turn into brands, and brands turn into legacies. When people begin to associate you with a specific transformation, you become unforgettable. You become the one they talk about, refer, return to. Not because you were the cheapest, but because you were the most transformative. You didn't just deliver something useful. You delivered something that shifted them. And once people associate you with their own personal breakthrough, they don't just support your business. They champion it. Money doesn't follow movement, it follows meaning. That's the difference between those who make noise and those who make millions. Movement might get you attention, but meaning gets you conversion. You can dance on every platform, show up every day, post, pitch, and promote. But if people don't feel anything when you speak, they won't move toward you. And they definitely won't pay you. In the business world, emotion is currency. The person who stirs the most meaning wins the most loyalty. People don't buy based on logic. They buy based on how deeply something resonates in their gut, their heart, their soul. That's why great businesses are built on great messages. Messages that pierce through the noise and speak to a specific kind of person with a specific kind of pain. It's not about casting a wide net. It's about becoming so clear on who you serve and why you serve them that your words feel like healing. When someone hears your message and says, "That's exactly what I needed to hear," they aren't just listening, they're leaning in. They're attaching their identity to your insight. And that emotional bond is where trust is born. Too many entrepreneurs hide behind mechanics when they should be showing their meaning. They build websites, funnels, content calendars, all good things. But they forget that people don't fall in love with strategy. They fall in love with stories. They fall in love with a mission. They fall in love with how you make them feel about themselves. So you can be the most skilled person in your space, but if you don't communicate with heart, you'll be ignored by the very people you were called to impact. It's not just about having the best offer. It's about having the most felt one. Meaning comes from alignment. When your values, your voice, and your vision all point in the same direction. It's the feeling that what you're building isn't just about income, but about influence, about impact, about building something that moves people from darkness to light, from confusion to clarity, from silence to action. And when your business carries that kind of weight, people don't just buy from you. They remember you. They follow you not because you're popular, but because you've proven to be meaningful. But here's the catch. Meaning requires vulnerability. It requires telling the truth about why you do what you do, about the fight that shaped your voice, about the pain that gave birth to your purpose. When you lead with that kind of honesty, people connect with you on a human level, not just a transactional one. They don't just see your brand. They see themselves in your brand. They see hope. They see permission. They see possibility. And that kind of connection can't be faked, and it can't be forgotten. The market is starving for real emotion, real mission, real alignment. People are tired of surface-level promises and pixel-perfect presentations. They want heart. They want humanity. They want to buy from people who aren't just selling to survive, but who are building something because they truly believe it can shift someone's life. When that belief is baked into your message, it comes across in every post, pitch, conversation, and campaign. You're no longer marketing, you're ministering to the marketplace. If your business doesn't carry meaning, it will burn out because no amount of money will sustain something you don't believe in. But when what you build is rooted in something bigger than you, you'll keep going even when it's hard. You'll innovate when others quit. You'll show up with energy because you're not just chasing profit, you're pursuing purpose. And that kind of energy is magnetic. People can feel when your business is anchored in something that matters. And that feeling is what turns browsers into buyers, followers into fans, and clients into evangelists. The most powerful business models are the ones that start with meaning and then attach the mechanics. That's how you create something that lasts, because tactics will change, platforms will shift, algorithms will evolve, but meaning, real, raw, undeniable meaning will always find a way to rise above the noise and reach the people it was meant to impact. You didn't come this far just to grind, to chase, to stay stuck in survival mode. You were designed to build, to lead, to multiply, not just income, but impact. The marketplace doesn't need another product, another pitch, another person faking success online. It needs you fully aligned, fully awake, fully activated in your purpose. The world is already full of noise. But when you show up with clarity, conviction, and the courage to build something that solves real problems and transforms real lives, you don't have to shout to be heard. Your presence speaks. Right now, you have everything you need to start. Not when it's perfect, not when you feel ready, not when they approve. Now, start where you are with what you have and with a fire that refuses to go out. Build the model that works while you rest. Find the market that needs your message. Package the transformation they've been silently praying for. And don't just aim to make money. Aim to make a mark so powerful, it echoes through generations.